Hello and welcome to the Brick News, the weekly show on all things brick building where we talk about set updates and announcements from all the major brands, MOCs of the week, and I think one reading recommendation as well. Information is presented as always by setdb.org, the best source for set information on the internet. At least that is what I do claim every week. However, we have more than 20,000 sets in the database, so I think there are not that many sites on the planet who do have such a broad view on the entire industry. But today, don't you worry, we are just going to talk about roughly, I guess, 24 of them. And as always, we will go through the brands in alphabetical order. We will start with BlueBrixx. So here we have actually two stones. I'm not really in geology, so I have no idea how to pronounce this correctly. Let's call this one the Amethyst 107050 by BlueBrixx. Actually, this is a collection of 3 sets. We will go through all 3 of them. And as you can see here on the picture, there are actually, everything's prepared that you can use Technic pins to bring those 3 sets together, as you can see on this picture. So the Amethyst is the largest one with 590 pieces. It's technically bigger than the other 2, plus I guess it is also much more detailed. There's a lot of like 1 by 1, 2/3 slopes in there and smaller pieces like this. So as always with BlueBrixx, at this point in time, it's only an announcement, so we do not have a price point yet. However, we have the other 2 sets, and first we have then the Aquamarine, the 107052. This thing, like I said, a lot smaller, has only 230 pieces, and as you can see, they used much bigger slopes here to get the correct shapes in place. Personally, I'm not so sure why you would put these on the shelf brick build and don't just use or buy the original ones, but I guess this could be a little bit cheaper. Not really sure. Anyhow, the third one, which I'm absolutely incapable of pronouncing, Rodochosit. I don't know. I wouldn't even know. I mean, even this morning when I recorded the German version of this show, I got this entirely wrong, and for sure I can't do it in English. So I'm sorry, folks, but I can tell you it's a 107051 by BlueBrixx, and it has 282 pieces. Again, price point not known at this point in time. And then we have the 108502 announced, designed by Matteo, and it's called the Mobile Toilet Transport. So this is a car, basically a 6-stud design, 337 pieces, roughly 18 centimeters in length or slightly above 7 inches. And yeah, you have 2 mobile toilets. Actually, I don't know. I mean, this is quite typical, I would say, from a design perspective, in Europe at least. No idea how this looks across the pond or in Asia, but I guess mobile toilets are everywhere the same, aren't they? I don't know, but I can confirm this is how it looks like. So I don't know if you have a large construction site in your dioramas or in your brick built city, or I don't know, you have like big concerts, big races like a marathon, stuff like that. I mean, there are a bazillion situations where you may need a couple of toilets for your minifigures. So here you go. These things are roughly a minifigure scale, as you can see from the doors. So yeah, I think from that point of view, you are now covered. And then we have the announcement of another, what BlueBrixx usually calls a brick body. So similar concept of having like an oversized head brick build figure, similar to what Lego calls a brick head, but it is a different concept. They are also bigger than Lego's design, basically 6x6, sometimes even 7x7 studs. And in fact, this extraterrestrial big game hunter, so obviously we all know which kind of movie BlueBrixx is referring to here. The 108357 has 452 pieces, so that's a lot bigger than what Lego usually has in a brick head, and it's roughly 10 by 10 by 15 centimeters, so 15 in height, which is roughly 6 inches or 4 by 4 inches square. So obviously that is not the studs here, like the pedestal our hunter is standing upon, but it actually includes all the extra pieces. This is what they put into the 10 by 10 centimeters, which makes sense. So I don't know. I think it's a very well done design, but means you immediately know what it is. Very unfortunate that BlueBrixx, as always, is not really looking to get a license. I mean, that's not true. In their BlueBrixx Pro line, they do have a couple of licenses like Stargate and Star Trek, but in BlueBrixx Specials or in this ModBrixx line, they usually don't. Anyhow, let's move on to the Dentist, the 108-282. This is from the BlueBrixx Play line that they started a couple of months ago. I'm not even sure. Do they already have sets available? Yes, they do actually, but it's only a very small number, like 5 or 6 of these. So this is basically the new kids line, so what Lego would call City of BlueBrixx. So we don't have a price point of this one, but what I can tell you is that you have 4 minifigures included, 680 pieces, and it's roughly 25.5 by 15.5 centimeters, or in different terms, it's 32 by 16 studs. And yeah, I mean, it's a very simple design. I mean, there's a lot of, let's say, pure studs. There's nothing is tiled on the floors, etc., etc. However, I would still argue that it's, from my point of view, at least from a construction point of view, a bit cooler than what Lego is doing nowadays in City, because, I mean, there's some interior there, right? I mean, you have more than just 3 or 4 studs. I mean, look at Harry Potter, which is even more horrible from my point of view, by means there's basically no building left anymore. It's just a facade. And I think that BlueBrixx is doing a much better job here. On the other hand, you still can access the building from all sides. Personally, I would prefer to have like a 50 or 100 pieces more in there and get a bit more detail, especially on the floors. On the other hand, I mean, this is up to the kids to do this themselves. This thing is highly modular, so you can remove the roofs, as you can see, but also remove the first floor. Quite a nice design, really like it. Again, price point unknown at this point in time. And then we have a couple of BlueBrixx Specials. Just keep in mind, similar to, I think, the ModBrixx line, that means you only get a digital instruction and usually also no separation by means of building phases. So basically you have a lot of different bags in there, but usually it just means certain piece types are in the same bag. But basically you have to open all of them before you can start building. Always keep that in mind. However, we have now 2 what they call sport coupes of sport coupe. I think it's called a coupe in English, right? Of the 80s, and then we have a red and a white version. The red version is a 108-492, so this is a 1x18 system built sports car, and obviously that is a Ferrari, but again, BlueBrixx not bothering getting a license, which I think is okay for cars, because I mean they're driving around the street, so I guess you can make one of them. You just can't call them a Ferrari. Anyhow, 1,310 pieces, roughly 32 centimeters in length, or roughly 12.5 inches. And there's a white version, which is extremely similar, but not 100% identical. So actually the piece count, I think, has a difference of 16 pieces or something like that. Let me just confirm that. I think, yes, it's 16 pieces more. And I just saw, at least in the front, you have these 2/3 1x2 slopes down below. So there are very, very small differences. Not really sure why, but they're there. So they're not 1% identical, but let's say 99%. But next to that, it's basically the same car in white. And also that means the same size. And then we have a German steam locomotive, Baureihe ID9 or BR89, a 108-494. So if old Central European steam-powered locomotives is your cup of tea, this may be for you. So this is, I guess, a set where the intention is that you can actually put it on the track. So you have the magnets there, etc., to attach cars to them. 585 pieces, roughly 21.5 centimeters in length, or 8.5 inches. And yeah, it's a typical black and red design that was used a lot, at least in Germany, to my knowledge, but I guess also with other Central European countries. So the typical black and red design here. And I guess if you want to motorize it, you have to use one of the cars. I think you won't be able to get anything in this one. It's just too small, but yeah, it definitely looks nice. And I do expect not a very high or a relatively reasonable price point, as is usually with BlueBrixx. With that, we're moving on to a couple of new peanut sets. So BlueBrixx, since they have this license, they have thrown out a ton of stuff. Just a quick note though, actually, because BlueBrixx is listing this wrongly, the fix is already on its way into the ZTB, but you can't see it right now. Maybe I could if I refresh the browser, but doesn't matter. They have actually 7 or 8 or 9 new sets announced. I have only a small I've picked only a couple of examples, but as always, just go on the set and then you click here on the license Peanuts on the brand category Peanuts. And these 5 sets, they actually call them 5 to collect. These are actually diamond bricks, but the BlueBrixx shop system actually did report that they are normal bricks, but you can see it here on the box art that this is actually diamond brick. Just keep that in mind. This is an entirely different animal from, you know, what the kind of brick it is, 10 compared to regular bricks. So this will be quite cheap, I guess. And I guess it will be, I don't know, $2-3 or something like that. No, maybe a little bit more, but for sure not what it would cost with regular bricks. Anyhow, we have here a couple of these small ones, like for instance, here Snoopy, the 108 149, 270 pieces, diamond blocks. By the way, diamond blocks is what most manufacturers call when they talk about the same size that Nanoblock does, but Nanoblock is a trademark, so that's why usually it's called, with the rest of the industry, it's called diamond bricks, or diamond blocks, depending on the company, but basically that's always the same size. So these things look very different than regular bricks do. They're not just like mini bricks, which are basically just smaller, but have the same formula, if you will. The same way as regular, normal, or Lego bricks are compared to Duplo. Mini bricks are just, again, a little bit smaller, but more or less the same concept. Here, diamond blocks look entirely different. Just keep that in mind. Anyhow, we have here Snoopy as an example, and then we have Charlie Brown, of course. I was always a big fan of Charlie Brown, and this is here 108 154, 300 pieces. Again, we don't know much more about it at this point in time, besides how many pieces are in there. And then we have one where I do believe it should be regular bricks, and that is called Peanuts Snoopy Pen Holder, the 108 115. Pretty cool stuff, actually, I do believe, slightly above 600 pieces. And yeah, you have Snoopy there and a few others, and yeah, it's a pen holder, so I think this could be a pretty nice companion for your working desk. Looks quite nice. You could even bring this to the working place. I mean, why not? It's roughly 12.8 by 23 centimeters or 5 by 9 inches. And yeah, you have Snoopy, you have the doghouse, and you have a tree trunk as a pen holder, everything you need. And then you have Snoopy's popcorn stand, 108 Again, this is from my point of view just an example. So if you look at a checkout here, click in the set to be on the license, you can see that, I don't know, the Snoopy's head is also there as a diamond block, as a new set. You have actually next to the popcorn stand I was just talking about, also a candy stand, and then a lot more other sets in diamond block format. So just check it out. Go to, I will provide you all the sets I just talked about. I will provide you with the links as always in the podcast show notes / in the video description on all the platforms where I can do this, i.e. I can't do this on Spotify, and on Spotify I can link the podcast show notes, but I can't do it on TikTok, for instance. Anyhow, just check it out and then go here on license Peanuts, and then you get all, you are able to see all of them in all its glory. With that, we're moving on to a couple of availabilities now. And this is first, we have the small delivery car from the 50s. So obviously that is a French car, Citroën, but again, BlueBrixx does not have a license. What is interesting that they actually, I mean, they almost brick built the Citroën logo. So that is actually, that is a bit dicey, I would argue. Usually BlueBrixx really knows what they are doing, like how far you can go. But I don't know, for me, it feels a bit dodgy. But 107 834 now available. This is a 1x18 car, brick system build, 910 pieces, because this is a BlueBrixx special. Again, you can't expect any prints in there, but also no stickers. But here you go, $40, 4.4 cents a piece. As always, I keep repeating myself. Just keep in mind, for those of you from across the pond, over here in Europe, that always includes value add tax, which I think the situation is different. If you import it from Europe, from North America, I guess you don't have to pay the value add tax, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a tax lawyer. Anyhow, let's move on to the large tractor unit, the 107 584, same scale, 1x18. And of course, at least a lot of Europeans know that this is an MB truck, so a Mercedes-Benz truck, or kind of a version of that, which unfortunately Mercedes-Benz has given up making quite some time ago. And I guess because it is in this dark green color, it's something like that was used by forest workers, something like that. Usually the ones that were for regular agriculture had a much more, like, I guess in brick color, it would be something like lime, a little bit like glass is today, I would argue, a green like this. Anyhow, here you go. This thing has 856 pieces, gonna cost you 35 bucks, 4.1 cents a piece. And then we have the English 3-wheeled van 107468 now available, 1x18 scale car, again 1047 pieces. BlueBrixx is asking for 40 bucks, so you are below the 4 cents a piece price point. So as always, BlueBrixx sets have a pretty aggressive price point. Just keep in mind, piece quality may not be what you expect, especially if you're coming from the Lego side of things. But definitely something I always recommend just to try out. There are a lot of folks who basically argue, hey, the piece quality is the same. For some, it's not enough because there are a lot of more, usually there are more micro scratches on these pieces. And the spruce marks are also much deeper, usually, stuff like that. But usually they're built very well. And here we go, 1,496 pieces in the highway ambulance. Again, this is one of these sets where I'm pretty sure that this had a Hollywood reference. 107512. BlueBrixx is asking here for 60 bucks. That's roughly 4 cents a piece. Quite a nice car, quite a nice van. And yeah, 1x18 scale. So this is not small. This is definitely not minifigure scale. If you're a fan of the movie or in general just interested in a van, here you go. With that, we're moving on to BlueBrixx, a Patriot system radar carrier from the German Army, aka Bundeswehr 107626. So this is an army line that BlueBrixx has been doing for quite a while, actually. This is almost like from the early days of BlueBrixx, always done this stuff, and they are always BlueBrixx Pro sets, usually manufactured by Xingbao. 107626 is now this. From the BlueBrixx Pro line, I think the Patriot system had like 3 sets. And this is now the second one and also the largest one that is available. So the missile carrier got available some time ago. I think I did reporting on this one. Yes, so this is what we talked about in... Oh, that's actually available for quite a while. Like this was in February. But now we also have the radar carrier. And this, again, is a 1x30 scale model. Just keep that in mind. So it may not be compatible to 1x35, for instance, by Kobe. Maybe better with the 1x28. However, I guess all of the Kobe sets for modern era are more like 1x35, right? I may be wrong here, but something to consider. 1,780 pieces in this bad boy. It's 38 centimeters in length. That's roughly 15 inches. And it's going to cost you 80 bucks, 4.5 cents a piece. With that, we're moving on to DK. And here we have now in China available 2 new rocket systems. First one, the 7006, the Rocket X. My guess is that this is Falcon 9 from SpaceX, but I guess they don't have a license with from SpaceX, so that's why they call it just a rocket. But it has 869 pieces, and you can order this right now from China, in this case from one of my partners, Bawir, for roughly 32 bucks. I don't have many details on this one because the pictures are do not have a very high resolution, and like I said, they don't have a license. And then they have the Space Launch System. I guess this is the current NASA system, like Artemis, or what is it called? I'm not that sure, but anyhow, 707 and 908 pieces, and you can order these in China for roughly 32 bucks. Again, I don't have very detailed pictures, so this is all we have. And then we have, for quite a while, a set that is actually running under the brand of Happy Build again, which is quite interesting because I haven't seen any sets from them. I mean, this company has multiple brands, but I haven't seen the use of the Happy Build brand for quite a while, actually. And so here we go, a Technic set, 1x14, as far as I can tell, without a license. So in the past, Happy Build has done licensing, especially with Toyota. So for instance, I once built the Toyota J40 Jeep. No, it's not a Jeep, right? Toyota four-wheeler, right? I guess that's correct. Jeep is the brand, right? Anyhow, 770 737 pieces. And yeah, we have again a set from them again. In the past, I was a big fan of Happy Build sets in general. Pretty good material, BlueBrixx pieces, pretty good price point. This one here is in China, roughly 32 bucks, 4.5 cents a piece. Of course, by the way, when I talk about prices from Chinese retailers, I mean, shipping may vary depending on where you live, right? Just keep that in mind. Usually this price here with Bauer includes shipping into Central Europe, but keep in mind, this may be entirely different depending on where you live. Anyhow, moving on to the next brand, JIESTAR. Here we have now available also again in China, in this case for my partner BlueBrixx, the burger joint, which is basically a Volkswagen T1 bus, and then you have the trailer. This thing is roughly 40 centimeters in length and then 15 by 16. My guess is that this is not the Volkswagen bus, but the trailer. And I guess with everything, including open up like this one here, this is just my guess though. But anyhow, I mean, it's not a small set. It has 883 pieces. Again, I don't have the highest resolution pictures, but it looks quite nice. It looks like a lot of fun for sure. And you can order this set in China again for around 44 bucks. And with that, we're moving on to, again, a German brand. So I guess most of you may not be able to purchase these, but I do believe this will change over time. But anyhow, I talked about this brand Kiddicraft already like last week, I think. So this is actually pretty cool stuff, and a lot of folks over here in the German community are quite excited about this brand because they go very high quality on everything. Like Panlos is manufacturing these sets for them, so that means everything is pet printed, everything is high quality, the pieces are very good. And the minifigures are their own design, quite authentic. And yeah, it looks really, really cool. And also what this brand is really looking for, which I think is interesting for a lot of folks, especially in Europe, really for like full legal safety. So as you may know, a lot of especially Chinese brands having a lot of trouble and had a lot of trouble in recent years over here with Lego because of Lego's IP on certain pieces or certain areas, like certain piece designs, the minifigure design, stuff like that. It's not that much. I mean, Lego has not that much IP anymore. This stuff is simply too old. I mean, from time to time, folks write very stupid things like calling out stuff like fake Lego, which of course is entirely stupid. Don't say that. Simply entirely wrong, because there's a good reason why IP is running out after a certain point in time. That is very important for our economy. And so don't call every car a fake Mercedes and don't call every brick fake Lego. That's just stupid. But Lego still, at least over here in Europe, has IP, and I think also in certain other regions of the world. I mean, it really depends because IP law is different in every area of the world. They don't have patents anymore, but they still have like certain other forms of IP over here in Europe. Anyhow, there was a lot of trouble around and issues around that. So they still, I don't know, own IP of maybe around 150 pieces or molds, which is not much. But if you have just one piece in a set that is problematic, then you're in trouble when you try to import this into Europe, for instance. Anyhow, Kiddicraft, because the CEO of the company behind that is really into this. He was in trouble with Lego with different sets and different brands in the past. So he designed these from the ground up to be absolutely IP safe. And this is also why they designed their own minifigure, because Lego has actually, I think it's called a 3D trademark, which is a crazy thing that does not even exist in many parts of the world, but it does in Europe, and they have it on the minifigure. That's why you need your own minifigure design, which is very important. Anyhow, these sets are designed to be safe, but also designed to be fun. Keep always in mind, Kiddicraft is a brand that is focused on kids. As you can see, it's a 5+ set. And this is basically from the coastline of Kiddicraft, these 3 sets. So they have the large lighthouse, and large in this case means 133 pieces. Then they have the small lighthouse without a minifigure with 61 pieces. And then they have, oh my God, I don't even know how these things are called. In German, we call it Strandkorb, which means like beach basket, but I'm pretty sure that is not the correct name. For those of you who are native English speakers, please let me know if you have a name for these things over at least on German's coast. on a typical German beach, you can find these. I mean, we need this stuff because we have the Baltic Sea and the Atlantic or North Sea, of course, but it's pretty cold even in the summer. So that's why you usually need one of these bad boys to protect you from the wind. That's the goal. Anyhow, then you have this amazing guy with a bathing suit, and I think this is a bathing suit that was basically, I think, that was like fashion in Germany maybe during the imperial time, so maybe like 100 years ago. This may have still be in fashion. And yeah, this guy, I mean, if you look at his beard, and this is also a beard that I think was quite popular in Germany maybe 100 years ago. So I think that is what they're going for here, which I think is pretty funny. And anyhow, you have 3 more sets. By the way, there's a lot of big news coming up from this brand because they are now also moving into high fantasy and castle and orcs and all this good stuff. So definitely, I've actually pre-ordered a couple of sets from them, so I do intend to build it. With that, we're moving on to Lego. And here we have, by the way, while I'm recording this, Lego is starting to publish stuff on the UCS sail barge, Jabba sail barge, but I'm not going to talk about this today. I will do this next week. Sorry about that, but don't you worry. I will definitely cover it. And I, by the way, also intend to buy it. Anyhow, we are moving on to ideas. And here we have the Magic of Disney, the 21352 announced. This thing will release October 1st. It's going to cost you roughly $100. I mean, dollars US and euros, which I think is a pretty good price for a Lego set. I mean, please let me know in the comment section what you think, but I'm actually quite happy with this price point. And I don't say this very often with Lego. I mean, it's like 9 cents a piece, but it's a Disney license, and Disney is always quite expensive. So, and there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. Plus, I do believe it has a pretty cool design. I mean, if you just want to buy one Disney set, there's a lot of stuff, interesting stuff covered with this set. So I really like this design. Like I said, it's part of Ideas. However, it has not been a regular Ideas entry, but actually I think it was a challenge. But anyhow, as always, I have the Ideas design entry linked in here as well. And I think this is one of the very rare examples where I do believe that Lego actually came up with a slightly better design. It feels more compact, more packed also, and more detailed, which usually they strip the original challenge entry, or generally, usually they strip the entries down quite a lot, but I think in this case they did not. So please let me know what you think, but I think this is a pretty cool concept. However, when my wife was looking at this picture, she basically declared, okay, but the mouse is really ugly, especially the ears. And I might have to agree with that, but everything else is quite cool. With that, we're moving on to 3 sets that Lego announced for Wednesday. So Wednesday from the Addams Family, of course, but Wednesday the Netflix show, which I personally have never seen. But anyhow, 3 sets. I think all of them are going to release October 1st. What I do believe, however, even if I'm not into the show, which basically is running, had 2 seasons or is running a 2nd season. Anyhow, I think the 2nd season is still running on Netflix, isn't it? Anyhow, what I personally believe is really cool about these sets, especially about this one here, we are currently talking about 76780, is what kind of pieces are in there. I mean, this is just outright amazing, I do believe, because, I mean, you have, for instance, look at these trans black leaves, which look so amazing. Then we have the black birds. These may not be new, but I at least have never seen them before. And there is a lot more to explore here. You have the black roses. I mean, how cool is that? So yeah, I think the brick design itself is nice, right? You have these secret compartments and everything, but also the pieces are just amazing. And if you look at this inverted, I actually don't know. I think it's not in brickling. It's not a tile. I think it's something like more like an inverted plate. Anyhow, you know what I mean, right? This thing with an N print on it, which is really, really cool. And yeah, also from the brick design, I really like this set. I mean, there is a ton of stickers in there, which is as always, very unfortunate and does not fit the LEGO price point very well. This is still my opinion, but from the pieces that are in there, the new colors, I'm really looking forward for New Elementary or one of these sites looking into these sets deeper. But personally, I've already seen a couple of pieces that I'm really interested. I mean, look how cool these flowers are, right? The black rose, and then the three leaf pieces with both in trans black and dark bluish gray. I mean, this looks so amazing. I definitely need one of those. But yeah, here you go. Wednesday, the Adams brick build figure 76780, 702 pieces, and Lego is asking for $50, which is 7.1 cents a piece. I mean, I don't have the part list yet, so I can't say how heavy this thing is going to be. So it may not be as good as it looks right now. 7.1 cents a piece, of course, for a licensed set is kind of amazing and almost unheard of. Now, that's not entirely true. Rivendell was actually better, but you know what I'm talking about. It is, I mean, nobody would be surprised. Nobody would like it, but we would all not be surprised if Lego would have asked like for $70, right? This wouldn't be unheard of, but here we go. The Wednesday Adams figure 76780. And then we have Wednesdays and Ernest's dorm room at 76781. This thing is going to cost you $90. I mean, it's basically this, it has as many pieces as the other one, but it's almost like twice the price. So, but yeah, you have 4 minifigures in there, but look at these 4 gargoyles, which is again an amazing piece. I really, really like this one. But there are also other like interesting pieces in there. The mini dolls I'm personally not a big fan of, but here we go. And of course the large dish in the center, which I guess is also pet printed, looks quite amazing as well. But of course you have also stickers and everything. But yeah, again, I think this entire Wednesday line could be highly interesting for folks looking for interesting pieces. 76781. And then we have 2 BrickHeads, not that exciting, I personally believe. 40750, again, October 1st. However, I think what I've never seen in a BrickHead is this looks almost like the torso of Wednesday is like a 1x4x3 brick, something like that. At least this is how it looks like here on these images. And this is actually, I think, quite interesting. Pretty sure I've never seen that before, but yeah, I guess they had to do it in order to get her dress correctly. And then what is also interesting, that Lego has not published any pictures from the backside, which I think is common for BrickHeads, but I'm really interested if I look at this picture how they did the hair of Wednesday. But yeah, in general, I think Wednesday is a pretty cool BrickHead. Enid is not really my cup of tea. It's just boring. It may be authentic, but personally I believe it's a boring BrickHead. But yeah, here you go. $20, I guess, as usual, is for 2 BrickHeads in a box. With that, we're moving on to Mork, and here we have now announcements actually. BlueBrixx, in this case, BlueBrixx, a retailer. I mean, it's the same company, but they're both a retailer and a set manufacturer or set maker. They have listed in their shop 2 Mork bookends. First, we have New York, the 28008, and these bookends are basically, you can just put them together, and then, you know, you just have a small diorama, or you can split them up, and then you can put books in between. And in this case, usually it's just 2 pieces, but in this case, you can even split it up even more, and you have 4 pieces, because the bridge, I guess that's Manhattan Bridge, I guess, you can also use for that purpose. So technically you can basically have 4 pieces, and then you can, in various combinations and variations, put books in between. Small lighting included. Quite nice from the concept point of view. And then you have the Steam Locomotive bookend 28004. This one actually, from the locomotive perspective, I like even more. However, personally, I can't stand all these colors of the flowers. I don't know, for me that doesn't fit to an old steam locomotive, but again, same concept. Also, I think from the 3D art, if you will, this works a lot better, right? You have this tunnel where the locomotive is going in or out, respectively, and I think this looks really cool with the books in between. You have, again, light bricks, which I personally wouldn't even need, but okay. But like I said, I can't stand the flowers. This looks weird. It just doesn't fit. But I mean, you can easily just, you know, don't throw them in. And I think you're good to go. And this thing is actually looking quite nice and looks like a lot of fun. With that, we're moving on to Mould King. And here we have 2 Christmas sets that I at least haven't seen before. So I do believe they are new on the market. The 10162, the Christmas Carnival Band. And yeah, this is a Christmassy band, and I guess it has also a small Technic functionality in there, as you can see here on the right, but I'm not 1% sure what is actually happening. I guess the tree is spinning, and I guess the musicians are moving a little bit. But yeah, here you go. Santa Claus, a reindeer, Christmas tree, and some other dude, I guess an elf or maybe something like that, are making music. I actually don't think that this thing is actually going to make music. Anyhow, 33 bucks roughly, or 34 if you import it from China. In this case, Bauer, partner of mine, 1,045 pieces roughly in there. However, if this is too much color for you, the Snow White carriage, maybe for the 10161. So if Snow White is actually a reference to the book, or if it's just, okay, this is snow and it's white, I'm not, or maybe a carriage that is Snow White, I don't know. It's the Snow White carriage, that much I do know. The 10161, it has 1,214 pieces. So personally, these ice carrots in front of the horses is a bit strange, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. Is that in a reference that I should know? I mean, I know a carrot in front of a donkey. That reference I do know, but I don't know, an ice carrot in front of horses. I've never heard before, but I may be entirely wrong here. Is this from I don't know, some Disney movie that I don't know? 1,214 pieces, like I said, 14 plus. And yeah, I think this also has a small functionality. If you turn this thing, then the wheels will start spinning. Yeah, here you can see this. So yeah, why not? It's roughly 38 centimeters in length. Don't know exactly right now what this is in inches. I will actually add this to the ZTB after recording the show, and then ZTB will also figure out how many inches that is, or how many inches that set has. Let's put it that way. Then we have from Panlos, the Teddy Overloads, the Space Beer, 881302. For those of you in Europe, actually, if you look at the small beer, so this may be a minifigure, and this may be problematic over here in Europe. I don't know. You can't see it here. That's why I'm still talking about it. However, nevertheless, if you import it, this may be a problematic set. I don't know. Anyhow, you have a teddy bear, and you have the teddy bear in an astronaut suit, and it's sitting inside a gigantic mech kind of teddy bear. So if you're into that, 1,343 pieces, and you can roughly buy this one for around 48 to 50 bucks. With that, we're moving on to our only reading recommendation. This week, I did review one of the new minifigure packs. I think I did reporting on these. So BlueBrixx is throwing out, or making now finally, Star Trek minifigures. They started last year to make their own minifigure, and since then, and they have done Star Trek sets for quite a while. So obviously, it was clear that they would one day connect the dots, and everybody was waiting for Star Trek minifigures. So they are selling these in these minifigure packs. However, right now they have them on their shop as individual sets, but right now you can't buy them individually, but they are actually throwing them in with existing sets. So for instance, Deep Space Nine, if you buy the Deep Space Nine set, you get now also the minifigure pack basically for free. Personally, I guess they just want to sell what they have in stock of these old sets, and then going forward one day you will get automatically a Star Trek crew with the set. But that's just me guessing. I actually don't know. So nevertheless, I did look into the Deep Space Nine minifigure pack, and I must say I was a bit underwhelmed. The general issue that I see is here that BlueBrixx did not go the extra mile, or I mean they don't even have to go the extra mile, just a mile would be sufficient. So in general, if you have a human figure, this is a standard BlueBrixx human figure, full stop. So they have one mold for the head, and then they have one mold for the body, and then of course they have a couple of molds for the hairpiece. They even have one, for the bald head, which personally I do believe looks very ugly. However, let's be honest, this looks ugly with almost every manufacturer, including Lego. Anyhow, these are male humans, so why not? And then they have the female, or let's say the not entirely human, or you know what I'm talking about. It's like they are aliens, they're non-humans technically, but they're very close, like the Trill, for instance, like Dex in this case. And here I think they almost got away with the original material that they have. I think they messed up the prints here. Of course, her dots are definitely not in this color, so the guess is because they are doing pet printed that they just wanted to use, you know, one pet print for both the lipstick and the dots. And as a result, she now has pretty crazy red dots, which looks entirely wrong. Plus, they're simply not enough of them. I mean, they go down the entire body, right? And basically, she just has a few around her eyes. So personally, I think that is entirely wrong. Then you have Major Kira here, for instance. Again, her nose wasn't worse to them in a new mold, but instead just a print, which I think is also not that good. However, it really got ugly when they got into more, alien species, for instance, the Klingons. And what they tried here is to use just one hairpiece for all the different kinds of Klingons that they had. Like they have a Worf from Next Generation, they have a Worf from Deep Space Nine, and they have Star Trek Original Series Klingons, or from the original movies to be more precise. And they use the same hairpiece for all of them. And I mean, this is again a pretty ugly hairpiece, you know, if you look here on this cut here. But also, for sure, Worf has never looked like this. Not even close. At least not in these. And not even. I mean, I would argue that this hairpiece is not even correct when you look at how he looked in the original Next Generation series. It's pretty far away from that. Like I said, in the Search for Spock set, like original series Klingons, it works, I think, to a certain degree, but definitely does not work for Worf. So I think they messed up Worf completely. And with that, we're moving on to Quark. And here you finally see, okay, you just can't do a Ferengi using your standard human mold. It just doesn't work. You cannot just put an ear print on this. And this is what they tried. And personally, I don't know, I feel like almost, and by the way, I think I've turned this head slightly wrong here, but I don't know, at this point in time, I was just annoyed what they did here, right? But yeah, anyhow, I was very underwhelmed. Like I said, you just can't do Star Trek using just one mold. It doesn't work. You have to invest into these minifigures, and I think they really cheaped out here, which is very unfortunate. Anyhow, this is my 5-minute Star Trek minifigure rant. With that, we're moving on to MOCs of the week, and here we have a couple of cool things this week, including a couple of cheap or free options. First, we have The Restroom by Brick Happens, which I think is a really funny concept. He uses only, or she, I don't know, uses only 157 pieces, basically an 8x8 stud mock. However, and it's very simple in its design, very clean, but looks beautiful. And I was also thinking while looking at this, like how amazing would it be just to have, just build 20 of these with different scenarios, etc. And you could easily stack them. So just, put a couple of 1 or 2 studs here on the wall and you're fine. And yeah, I think it's a very nice, beautiful, clean design. Admittedly, it's only a render. Pretty sure this 1x1 brick design will not look that good for real, but nevertheless, quite a nice design. And then, of course, by Chris Romans, we have the mini Dungeons and Dragons Red Dragon's Tail. I think I saw this first on his Instagram account, but yeah, it's a beautiful design. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of what Chris Romans is doing. These tinier version of these Lego sets almost look even better than the original Lego set. I would love if Lego would make more of these themselves, but yeah, I think it looks really cool, like they did for Ninjago City, for instance. I'm pretty sure they were inspired by Chris Romans, but I think, yeah, this is an amazing design as always. Really, I love the set. I really love the new Dungeons and Dragons minifigure collection, but this thing is also pretty cool as well. And with that, we're moving on to a design by Brickpimp, the townhouse with a kebab store, which actually kebab store usually is called in Germany Döner. So that's with that, I think it's pretty clear that Brickpimp is actually from the German-speaking community. But anyhow, it's a nice townhouse. I really like this design. It has a ton of detail, but it also looks very fresh. By means it looks quite authentic. It simply looks like many buildings look nowadays, including the interior. This is how this looks, and I think I find this quite refreshing. It's just, it tries to be fun, but it also tries to be authentic, and I think that is very cool. And there's a ton of detail in there. However, this thing will need 2,900 pieces, so not too shabby. With that, we're moving on to the Prison Isle by Mickey Briccalotti. It sounds like Italian brick enthusiasts. Anyhow, 2,523 pieces for this Prison Isle, which I think is also, again, pretty nice design, quite beautiful, lots of detail in there, and yeah, it looks like a lot of fun, and looks like it's not fun to be on this island. I don't want to be in prison there, but this captain actually is, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe should go very well together with other pirate MOCs or sets from Lego in that regard. And then from the account JP Creations, my apologies, we have again a bunch of pretty cool locomotives. For instance, this one here, the LMS Patriot Crimson Lake livery. It's only a digital build, which is unfortunate, but next to that, it looks quite beautiful. Always a big fan of dark red trains. £3.50 is not too much to ask for 1,517 pieces, and yeah, it's a beautiful locomotive. And then we have an alternate build actually of the 21325, right, the old blacksmith idea set. I think the kind of set, from my point of view, that revived basically the castle theme for Lego. So I still hold the set in very high regards, even if I never really liked the roof. But the Astral J here has created a book nook basically as an alternate build, which I think is pretty cool. For $7, uses 1,737 pieces out of the build. And yeah, here you go. You have a book nook. Pretty nice picture here actually with these Zelda books. But if you're into castle or high fantasy or something like that, then such a book nook may be for you. However, it still has an interior, so it's still kind of a display set, if you will. So I think you could use it in a quite a flexible manner. And if you, like the designer has done here, put some lighting in there, like, I don't know, BlueBrixx kit or something like that, you may even be able to use the original kit for the set. Then I think it brings all the more glory to your bookshelf. Pretty awesome. And then again, free of charge, a tree set from Brick Architect. Small Trees is it called. Actually, you can see in the name of the file that this is again a German, but that's not the reason why I want to talk about. It is a pretty cool, nice, and also very well repeatable brick design. Uses you basically, as far as I can tell, just 1x1 bricks, round bricks, and I guess in the top maybe brick modifieds with studs on all sides, and then uses basically the tree. The grass, basically the grass piece, the modern version of that, and then the 3-leaf piece. So with that, it's a pretty simple, repeatable, easy to get your hands on the pieces kind of design. And this is what I really like, because especially when you want to go for trees, I mean, I'm building a huge Endor MOC right now, and building trees is not easy. And so it's always good and handy to have a simple, repeatable design. And also, I guess, especially if you put a rigid house inside of it, which I would always recommend, this thing is also quite robust. So yeah, here you go. Small Trees by Brick Architects. With that, we are done for this week. I do hope you liked the show. For all of this who watched this on YouTube, please leave a like or comment, or even better, subscribe to the channel. For everybody else, podcast listeners, wherever you listen to this or hear this or watch this, rate, follow, subscribe, like, I don't know, it's called on every platform differently, but at the end of the day, the idea is always the same. Your support is highly appreciated. With that, thanks for listening. See you next week.